It was supposed to be a quiet Sunday drive home. Marcus held his daughter's tiny hand as they sang along to her favorite song. But when flashing red and blue lights filled the rearview mirror, everything changed. The officer's tone wasn't just harsh, it was hateful. Within seconds, laughter turned into fear, and the little girl's world collapsed into silence. She clutched her father's arm and whispered, trembling, "Daddy, please. Pretend you're dead." No one could have imagined what happened next. Something that would shake an entire community to its core. Watch until the end. Wait a second, tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Marcus Evans was a proud father, soft-spoken, hard-working, and gentle. A mechanic by trade and a single dad by life's design, his 9-year-old daughter Layla was his entire universe. They lived in a small Midwestern town where smiles hid prejudice and neighbors waved but whispered behind curtains. For Marcus, life was about staying invisible, keeping his head down, working hard, and protecting Layla from the ugliness he'd known all his life. That Sunday had been perfect. Ice cream, laughter, music, the kind of day every father dreams of. The sun dipped low as they drove home, windows down, the scent of summer thick in the air. But as the police siren wailed behind them, Marcus's chest tightened. He hadn't done anything wrong. Still, his hands began to shake on the steering wheel. Layla noticed. She'd seen that look before, the kind that meant danger was close, even when you'd done nothing at all. The patrol car stopped behind them, lights still flashing. Marcus pulled over, heart hammering. Layla's smile faded into confusion. "Stay calm," he whispered, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. The officer approached slowly, hand already on his holster. Marcus rolled down the window, keeping his hands in sight. "License and registration," the officer barked. His voice cut through the calm evening air like glass. Marcus complied instantly. But the man's eyes weren't on the papers. They were on Marcus's skin. "Is this your car?" he asked, suspicion dripping from every syllable. "Yes, sir," Marcus replied softly. The officer didn't look convinced. He glanced at Layla in the back seat, then called for backup. Within minutes, another cruiser arrived. Layla's heart pounded as more officers surrounded the car. Neighbors peeked through windows. Phones started recording. Marcus tried to explain, but the more he spoke, the more aggressive they became. One shouted for him to step out. Another warned he'd be removed by force. Layla began to cry. "Daddy, don't move," she whispered. Her tiny voice trembled as an officer reached for his taser. She didn't understand why they were yelling. Why her father, the man who fixed bikes for neighborhood kids and brought flowers to teachers, was suddenly treated like a criminal. Then, as Marcus stepped out with trembling hands, a flashlight was thrust in his face. "Get on the ground!" Someone screamed. Layla's scream echoed louder. She could only think one thing. If he does wrong, they'll kill him. Marcus dropped to his knees, face pressed into the dirt as officers surrounded him. One dug his knee into his back while another pointed a gun inches from his head. Layla's cries pierced the night. She pushed open the car door, running toward him, but another officer blocked her path. "Stay back," he barked. "Please don't hurt my daddy," she sobbed. "He didn't do anything." But no one listened. Marcus could barely breathe. He felt the cold metal of handcuffs tighten around his wrists. Then, in a whisper no one heard but him, Layla said, "Pretend you're dead." She thought maybe, if he didn't move, they'd stop. And when Marcus stopped moving, honestly, stopped, the chaos froze. The officers hesitated. Someone shouted, "He's not breathing!" In that instant, everything changed. Marcus was rushed to the hospital, unconscious from lack of oxygen. News of the incident spread overnight. The videos, neighbors' recordings, went viral, sparking outrage nationwide. 9-year-old begs police to spare her father. Headlined every feed. Protests erupted. Officials scrambled to explain, but the truth was undeniable. Marcus survived, but Layla never forgot that moment. The innocence in her eyes faded, replaced by a wary understanding of the world's cruelty. Yet her fear turned into purpose. Years later, she spoke at rallies, her voice steady and brave. "I was 9 when I learned silence can kill, and speaking up can save lives." This wasn't just one story. It was a mirror held up to a nation still bleeding from its own denial. How many more fathers must pretend they're dead before justice truly wakes up? Where are you watching from? Take care.